Another black box from Canik. This is the TP9 SF Elite-S. And that's what's coming up next on GBGuns. So now I've already had this out of the box and played with it a bit. I haven't shot it yet, but had to get familiar with it. Quick going over of what all you get. You do get a magazine loader, the back strap, 2 magazines total, and up top a nylon brush, as well as your owner's manual, and the second part for the holster. This is a Serpa type locking holster. You also get a chamber flag. Here's the gun. I'll get the case out of the way and we'll take a look at it. Now right off the bat, I'm sure you're noticing something different, and that's what I was playing with. The main difference on this thing is that is a safety. Ambidextrous, pops up and physically blocks the trigger. You can see the bar there, doesn't let the trigger move. Interesting adaptation. Let's show clear and we'll take a look around the rest of the gun. Magazine pops out. We do have witness holes for all 15 rounds, which is great. Look at magazine ejection. Significantly better than it was on the Elite that we reviewed earlier. And the chamber's clear. So starting around the front, looking at slide to frame fit, nice and snug. We do have a fiber optic front sight. It's rather small, but I guess that's one way of keeping the snag potential down. Nice front cog serrations and that tungsten coating. 3 rail slots. A little bit of grip texturing added to the front of the trigger guard as well as the front strap. It's kind of a knobby 4x4 tire feel. The trigger has the safety doohickey in the middle, and yes, that is my term for it. Trigger won't fire without it. Reset is nice and takes you right back to the wall. Look at total pre-travel. Coming back to a wall. Brake, not bad. Controls easily within reach, thanks to this recess here for the thumb, which makes it quite comfortable to hold. Some serrations on the back strap. We do have a Cockney indicator in the back, and the U-notch rear sight with fiber optic front sight, which we enjoyed on the SFX Elite. Coming around to the right side of the gun, we have a slide release or slide stop. Let's see how well it will work. I want to thank Military Arms Channel for pointing out that sometimes they have controls on the other side, but they don't necessarily help. I'd say that's pretty effective. That was easy enough for me to do. Good looking gun. We'll test trigger pull. Got our Lyman gauge here. Broke exactly 5 pounds. £4 pounds, 6.8 ounces. 4 pounds, 10 ounces. So it looks like it's just a little bit shy of 5 pounds, which is nice. Now, this safety feature is interesting. It's a bit stiff. I've been playing with it quite a bit to soften it up. My theory on it is, and we'll have to test this once we get out to the range, is that on the draw, when coming up, if you slide your finger forward, it deactivates and then you can come for the pull. Activating, of course, is slower, but that's not a concern. So try to get more lighting on that. You're drawing, you bring your finger up, pushing out and across, and then you're ready to fire. Middle finger makes it easier, but then you're not on a good grasp for a draw. You just want to grasp 2 fingers, wrap, and pull. I don't know. It's going to take some practice. As with any manual of arms change, it requires training. Am I super concerned about it? No, because if you don't like it, just don't use it. It's not a big deal. It's not sticking out in the way. And since the only thing it's doing is actually physically blocking the trigger, nothing internal, Those of you who may not like this idea, not using it is not going to cause you any extra risk because there's nothing internal going on. It's just a bar that prevents the trigger from moving. So you don't have to worry about it being, like an extraneous safety that might fail you and cause the gun to completely fail. Not going to happen on this. Now, disassembly, I'm assuming, is just like the previous. Yep, there we go. The slide comes off the top. Take a look inside the frame. Pretty clean. And a Walther-esque trigger setup there. Slide, very clean. Either that's zero machining marks or it's a really thick coating, but either way it seems to work just fine and looks great. It's a captured guide rod. It appears to be metal with a flat spring. Get our barrel out. Still got the factory grease on here, so I'm going to have to wipe this off. Nice snug fit. Yeah, let me get a wipe here. Beautifully polished feed ramp. Very impressive. We'll check for chamber support. Dropping around in, and yes, fully supported chamber. Fits pretty good. So, considering how nice the SFX Elite was, I have a feeling this gun's going to be a good shooter too. Tell me what y'all think about that safety in there. And before you go talking about how you hate anything that's different or new, think about when you learned how to shoot in the first place and the efforts you went through in training and developing motor muscle memory skills and memory. Is this something that's really impossible, or is it just going to require a little bit of training? So I know the magazine release being there on Walthers, some people totally freak out about instead of just spending some time with. I'm hoping this is just going to require some training. I have to admit, this is the first time I've encountered something like this, so I'm probably not going to be too hot with it to begin with. But that's what range time's about. So once again, this is the Canik TP9 SF Elite-S. I think if they come out with any more versions, they're going to need to just call it the TP10 because that name is getting a wee bit long. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Thanks again for watching GBGuns. I'm assuming if you watched this far, you appreciate our format, or you're trying to figure out how to make that very argumentative comment. Either way, click the big griffin to subscribe. The Patreon link, since Google doesn't want to pay gun channels anymore, it helps with our ammo costs. Over here, for a video related to what you just watched, at least Google thinks so, or down here for the playlist relevant to the video you just saw.